Yeah, recording.
Yeah.
Right.
So, John, could we
what?
start with your news of the group, please?
Right. Not a lot of news of the group as individuals. I mean, it was Ed's birthday on Saturday, and he had a really good day. I'll be going to see him next Saturday. They've changed regulations, so 2 people have been able to go in the past. Now it's only 2 people from the same bubble can go. So it's 1 or 2 problems, but nevertheless. So Ed had a good day. There's a couple of things happening at the moment. We had the first group meeting for over 5 months at Bacon Miners Welfare last Wednesday, and it went pretty well. There were 17 of us, which was really good turnout. The only issue, well, the main issue was the milling about. People did a lot of milling. When I think Keith and I should identify ourselves by the dress that the group is.
Yeah.
Dressed as Piaf and me dressed as any other French bird that you care to name. People milled about and that sort of impinged on health and safety, but providing we can keep that to a minimum tomorrow when we're at Sainsbury's Cafe. It's Sainsbury's Cafe.
All right, thank you.
There's 1 or 2 people. Can I just quickly check? Dave Heathcote, are you coming tomorrow?
Yes, please.
Good lad.
Thank
Good
you.
lad. I can't see Brian Coddington about anywhere. No, I
Not come
can't.
yet.
Brian's not on yet.
He's not on yet. What about you, Lol?
I'm going. I've got to, according to Keith.
You've got to for the news. That's fair enough.
One of the
Right, so
orders.
we'll probably have a few less tomorrow. There'll probably be about 12 or 13 tomorrow, but nevertheless, it's a good way to test out the facilities at Sainsbury's Cafe. It's exclusive to us, but there'll be people looking at us from a distance, wondering what these old codgers are doing in corner at Cafe, laughing and swearing and wrestling on the ground, no doubt. So hopefully, so it's 10 till 12 tomorrow.
Something to look forward to then, that bit of wrestling.
Something to look forward to. Yeah. Glyn, as many of you will know, sent us the next stage of his World Cup presentation, what he's doing for the World Cup, when he wants us to pick our best team, Sheffield-based, either born in Sheffield, played for a Sheffield team, managed a Sheffield team. And I've sent these out to all the addresses that I know, and I will be handing more out tomorrow to those who aren't on Zoom. So if you can have a look at those, you might find it interesting. If any of you want to take part, but I haven't got your details, can they let you have the details, Keith? Are you alive, Keith? Yeah.
If you want, if you send me the picture or whatever it is, I'll email it out to every Zoom person.
Okay, Keith, I'll do that. And then you can all have a go at selecting your best 11 plus manager people that have been involved in the World Cup over the years. And then that'll feature on a banner when Glyn does his presentations at libraries, etc. And that's about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. John. Thanks, John. Just to clarify for people who don't know, when you get the list, included among the managers is a guy called George Seymour. For those who don't know,
George Rayner.
Sorry, George Rayner. Sorry, George Rayner. George Rayner was the manager of Sweden when he finished runners-up to Brazil in the 1958 final. So that's who George Rayner is.
I met him. I went on a course with him once.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really?
Was it a honeymoon on Olympics course?
No, I was playing football and he was doing some of the coaching.
Oh, fancy that.
Wow.
That's unique.
Okay.
He talked about...
What's his connection to Sheffield?
He's from Sheffield, isn't he?
He's from Sheffield, is he?
From Sheffield, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
talked about England's elimination to the USA in 1950.
Did he?
He put his head in his hands. He said, "I cried. I nearly died."
Wow. Right. Okay, so we'll move on to Lol's News of the Week.
News of the
Morning,
week.
everybody.
News of the week. Lol's news of the
Hello.
week.
Couldn't be a better day to be zooming, could it, today, with the weather?
No.
I've
I'll
been
start
out
with
running in it.
Well, starting with the London Marathon, actually, Paul.
Yeah, go on then.
Now, Britain, Mo Farah, he will be the pacemaker for the elite men's race at October's rescheduled London Marathon. Originally due to take place on April 26th, the race is for elite runners only, men, women and wheelchair. It will take place on an enclosed looped course in St James's Park on October the 4th in a secure biosphere. No spectators will be allowed at the 40th London Marathon, encompassing 19.8 laps of the park and finishing in the traditional place on the Mall. What do you know about this, Paul, with Mo Farah being pacemaker? Is it his idea?
He said he was happy to do it because he's training for the track events now. He's given up as a marathon runner, I think. But he said that he was fit enough and he wanted to be. He said, "I'm a Londoner. I love the London Marathon. I wanted to give something back." So they asked him to do it, and he was very happy to do it.
Oh, so it wasn't his idea himself then?
I don't think so. No. He'll be well paid to do it, by the way.
Will he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And also the
Bye, sweetheart.
other runners who are due to do the race have been asked to still run the London Marathon wherever they live on the same day, and you're given from midnight like 1 minute past 12 on the day, in the middle of the night, to 23:59 in order to run the full London Marathon. And people are going to do it as laps or run with friends and things like that, and try to do it as a fundraiser for things. So my wife's planning to run. Our son lives in Doncaster, and Doncaster's very flat. She didn't fancy running London Marathon round Dronfield because it's like running up Ben Nevis. So she's going to run laps of Doncaster. So that should be fun.
Okay.
Run round race course.
Well, there's a lake, isn't there? Which is
There is a lake
just
with
over.
a path around it.
That's right. It's just over a mile. But if you take in like where our son lives, it'll be about 2.5 miles, something like that. And she's going to get different people to run with her.
Okay, that
Right, carry on.
sounds great. Paul, just one other question. Is this likely to lead to a world record time for the marathon, with it being the same course and fairly flat?
Never thought about that. I
Well,
would
the
have
fact
thought,
that they using
Pacemaking.
the pacemakers.
yeah, it might be allowed as a world best, but not a world record if that's the case. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've not heard anything about that. And the fact that it's such small laps may mitigate against it. I think if they're doing 19 laps, to be honest, it's going to be like a corkscrew. They're going to disappear down a hole, I think. It's got to be the most boring course ever, I would have thought. 19 laps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be a world record for a biosphere, won't it?
very, very likely,
Have you noticed how we've changed our vocabulary because of this pandemic? I
Yeah.
couldn't spell pandemic 6 months ago.
I'm not sure I still
I
can.
can't now.
I used to be a dame in a pandemic. Oh, that was a pantomime, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, you
Same
turned it
joke.
into a pandemic, though, didn't you?
Same thing.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Oh, yes, I did.
Look behind you, John.
Right,
Don't start
okay.
singing.
Let's carry on then. Nipping on to
Yeah.
boxing. Nip on to boxing. Now, Dillian White's hopes of a world title shot were wrecked as Russian Alexander Povetkin twice rose from the canvas to land a stunning knockout win. The Russian, outboxed for 3 rounds, clawed twice in the 4th, produced a devastating left uppercut in the 5th to end the contest. White, who needed treatment, will get a rematch, according to Eddie Hearn, later this year, possibly in December. Povetkin took the WBC interim heavyweight title with this win. White needed a win to be mandatory challenger for Tyson Fury's WBC belt. Anybody see that punch?
I didn't, but I've seen the report. Lol.
Knocked him out cold.
Lol. It wasn't the punch. They're still investigating it, but apparently there was a syringe and he was injected with one of these Kovachev.
Apparently, the referee never started counting. He never counted. Just went down to help him.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as he was down on the floor, the referee was going like this.
Yeah.
To say, it's over.
Yep. Okay. Now, on to the Indy 500. Now, Japanese ex-Formula One driver Takuma Sato won the 104th running of the Indianapolis 500 as Fernando Alonso's hopes faded not long after half distance. Alonso was 15th when he lost a lap to a car problem with 75 laps to go and eventually finished 21st. Scott Dixon led for 111 of the 200 laps, but Sato passed him after the final pit stops to lead when a crash forced the race to finish behind the safety car with only 3 laps left. Alonso, who started the race in 26th place, returns to Formula One next year. An American, Marco Andretti, he took pole with a speed of 231.068 miles per hour. Now, a question to you, why is it called the Indy 500?
Well, it's 500 miles race.
Yep, that's correct. I'll give you a little
It's
bit of
Indianapolis.
Yep, a little bit of info about it. Now, it was originally advertised as the International 500-mile sweepstakes race from 1911 to 1916. However, from its inception, it became known as Indianapolis 500, or more simply, the 500. Now, in 1919, the race was referred to as the Liberty Sweepstakes following World War I. Now, one lap is 2.5 miles, which drivers take around 40 seconds to negotiate at speeds of around 225 miles per hour. Tradition has it that 33 cars start the race, all of whom do 4 laps in qualifying for the grid lineup positions. Any questions on that or comments?
Well, Paul thought that 19 laps for marathon were boring. 200 laps of that, eh?
Yeah.
Isn't it just a circular track?
It's an oval,
Not
actually.
like a Formula One, isn't it just a circular track?
No, it's an oval and it's banked in places.
Well,
Lol, do you know?
Yes, Big Paul.
Lol, do you know Alonso is driving for Formula One next year? Which team?
I did. I'm not sure. I did know. I've forgotten.
Ah, yeah. All will be revealed.
Going over 200 miles an hour, I think they got the idea from watching Jenny go to the shops in the car.
What you know? What?
They got the idea from watching Jenny go to the shops in the car for the.
Jenny.
It was just a joke.
Yeah, no, it was. I was just trying to work it out where it had come from. You're normally talking about a buns, not a driving.
And don't be personal.
Language.
Right.
Jenny's not there today.
She is. She's getting ready. She's going to a funeral. She's just getting ready to go to the funeral.
Oh dear.
Right, but nip on to tennis. Now, the world's 9 highest earning sports women over the past year are all tennis players. according to the US business magazine Forbes. Japan's Naomi Osaka tops the list with earnings of $37.4 million, ahead of Serena Williams with $36 million. World number one, Ashley Barty, is third with income of $13.1 million. United States international footballer Alex Morgan is the only athlete from outside tennis in the top 10, earning $4.6 million. So the moral of that item, gentlemen, is if you come back in a later life as a woman, learn how to play tennis.
What do you mean in a later life?
Don't you plan to do it, John?
Pardon?
What are you going to come back as?
Well, I'm currently a pantomime dame in drag, so I don't know. My options are endless.
Leave your options alone.
Hey, you leave my options out of this, you.
I'll nip on to cricket now. First item is to all of you to
Sorry, Doug, Lol, sorry. Just before you leave tennis, I noticed that Andy Murray beat a top 10 player yesterday.
Well, that's for tomorrow's meeting.
Zverev. Eh?
Number 7.
I've got that for tomorrow's meeting. I'll do it now if you want.
Well, no, no need. Save that for tomorrow.
I've got it for tomorrow, but I can do it if you like.
No, save it for tomorrow.
Okay. I'm going to nip on to cricket. Now, this is where we can all help a bit if we like, if you keep your eyes open when you're walking along the roads. Now, Indian cricket legend Sachin Tendulkar has asked his fans to help him locate his first car. The iconic player, who has a passion for cars, said the vehicle was a Maruti 800, a small car popular with Indians in the 1990s. He wants anybody who knows of its whereabouts to contact him. Tendulkar, who retired in 2013, appears to be looking for a needle in a haystack. Now, the Maruti stopped production of the car in 2014, which devastated many people in India, as owning one symbolised dreams, aspirations and status. And they're very, very popular. Any chance of him finding it?
Popular.
Now, South Africa women, they will not tour England next month because of the coronavirus travel restrictions. They have been set to play 2 20 games and 4 ODIs.
What's an ODI, Lol?
You better ask.
I can tell you what an ODI is. An ODI is an order of dynamic intelligence.
Thank you, Chief Constable. Why are women playing it then?
How long did it take you to think of that one, Paul?
Pardon?
How long did it take you to think of that one?
I got international right, you know. So I've got 33 1/3% correct.
Yeah, let it lie. Let it lie.
The ECB say it's determined to play some women's cricket later this year, and is in talks with several cricket boards. The West Indies are the favourites to face England later. Now come to the current test match. Now the third and final test against Pakistan seems destined to be a draw, with the weather playing a major part over the course of the last 2 days. If today's weather forecast is correct, there's not going to be much play, if any at all, for England to get the last 8 wickets to win the match. England's first innings broke all sorts of records as they built up a massive score of 583 for 8. The centrepiece being a great stand between Zach Crawley, 267, and Josh Buttler, 152, which totaled 359. In reply, Pakistan were 273 all out, with captain Azhar Ali batting at number 3, ending on 141 not out. Made to follow on, the weather intervened to frustrate England. and needing one more wicket to become the first fast bowler to 600 wickets, Anderson had 4 drop catches off his bowling, which must have annoyed him enormously.
Yeah.
Now, yesterday's catch
Yeah.
that Butler dropped was terrible. Didn't even touch his gloves.
Yeah.
Broad.
Pun?
I was just about to say about the Josh Butler one. After the amazing catch that he took on Sunday,
When he dived to his right.
to catch that one,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
dropped.
Got that one, yeah.
Some of the pundits are suggesting, I don't know if this is true, that the light was degrading very quickly, and that because they'd made a lot of compensation from the previous Test match and arrangements to keep the game going, they perhaps played a little bit too long. It's significant that a lot of the drop catches were towards the end of the day when the light was deteriorating. Wonder if that. I mean, Broad's drop catch, a dolly to mid-on, just school kid stuff, wasn't it?
Good throw, though.
Good throw, yeah.
That was bad temper.
He had to do that to redeem himself.
I don't think he redeemed himself with Jimmy Anderson. I think he was past redemption.
No.
I think Jimmy Anderson would have preferred him not to have done that, so he could have had another go.
I think
Yeah.
Jimmy Anderson would have thrown Broad at the wicket.
I've got quite a lot of stats from that England's first innings, and you can help me out with them, possibly. Now, first of all, his 393 ball knock for Zach Crawley contained 34 fours and 1 6 in his 267. And he moved into the 10th place in the all-time list of top scores made by an England player. Now, 267 is now the highest score in Test cricket history that was ended by a stumping, surpassing the previous best. Now, does anybody know who had the previous best top score before being stumped in Test cricket?
Brian Lara.
Do we know what nationality he was? Give us a clue.
You've got the right country with Brian Lara.
So
Dave Richards,
Dave Richards.
No.
Brian Greenidge,
Lloyd.
Weeks.
sorry.
Weeks.
Gavaskar.
Warren.
Gary Sobers.
Gary Sobers.
No. With his surname, he could work in a hospital.
Seymour Nurse.
That's correct.
Seymour
Do
Nurse.
you know what the score was at all?
No.
It was 258, which he made at Christchurch in 1969. Now, Crawley's knock is the second highest maiden Test century score by an England batsman. Tip Foster still holds the record with 287 back in 1903. Overall, it is the 7th highest maiden Test century score in history by anybody. Excuse me. Question: who has the highest score in making his maiden Test century?
Benetton.
Now we'll go back
Wally
to the
Hammond.
previous.
Gordon.
Hanif
Gary
Mohammed.
Sobers. Gary Sobers.
Gary Sobers, correct. Anybody on
No.
what score it was?
365.
365, not out.
365, yeah. Yeah.
Now,
You don't
Zach
get that
Crawley-
every day of the year, do you?
Very funny, very funny.
Now, Zach Crawley has the second highest individual score as England's number 3 in Test matches. Who holds the record for the highest score batting at number 3?
Wally Hammond.
Correct. What score was that?
Big
Are you
one.
not sure?
330 something.
You're
Can't remember the
correct.
exact score.
Yeah. 336. Very good.
It was the world record score at the time, I think.
Yeah, well done.
Answer on.
Now, he became the 5th youngest batsman to convert their maiden Test 100 into a double 100. Who is the youngest batsman to do so?
Was that Ben
Um,
Hutton?
And he plays for India. Give you a clue. Plays
Oh.
for India. Or he used to
Right.
play for India.
No, he played for him.
Raoul Dravid.
No, no.
The guy who played for Yorkshire.
Tendulkar.
No, it was
Tendulkar.
it was against England in 1992. He made 224. Does that give you any clues? Initials V.
Gaviscar.
Laxman.
Initials are VK.
VK Laxman.
No,
Virat Kohli.
nope.
No.
Somebody Khan.
Kumar.
Reno Cambley.
Is there a
All right.
Cambley?
Cambley. It's the highest individual test score at the Ageas Bowl, surpassing the previous best of 167 by Ian Bell in a test match, in a third test match. Do you know who they were playing against when he made that 167?
Pakistan.
South Africa.
You're not far off with Pakistan in the
India.
Geography of it. It was
Sri
India
Lanka.
in 2014. Now the stand of 359 made with Josh Butler beat the previous record fifth wicket stand of 254 in 1973, but who or which two batsmen held this record? Two English batsmen.
Barrington.
Record fifth wicket stand up to this weekend.
What was the year again, Lowell?
1973.
73.
Both of them?
No.
Denny Samus.
No.
Cowdrey.
No.
Graham Thorpe.
Boycott.
One of them was a South African player. That might give you a clue.
KP.
Tony Gregg.
Tony Gregg was one, yes.
He was English.
And the other player was English.
They were both English.
Yeah, but Tony Gregg was England's captain, wasn't he, at the time?
Yeah.
He was English.
Boycott.
And Keith, he was Keith Fletcher. Give you that. All right.
Chris,
Now the world
I
rec- now the
think
world
Lowell
record-
was saying Tony Gregg was originally from South Africa, but he qualified for England, didn't he?
Yeah, he was captain England for a while, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the world record fifth wicket partnership is by Sid Barnes and Don Bradman of 405 for Australia against England at Sydney in December 1946. Crawley and Butler are now in joint fourth for the world record fifth wicket highest partnership. Does anybody know what was unusual about the scores that Barnes and Don Bradman got in that match?
Both the same.
They didn't both get the same score, did they?
Exactly. Yeah. Do you know what the scores were? Anybody?
Was it 2-2-2?
Bit higher. Add 12 on.
2, 3,
2,
4.
3, 4.
Yeah, they both scored 2, 3, 4. Now it's also, and I heard this, but I can't verify it, but I heard it somewhere. It's the highest aggregate of two number 3 batsmen scores in the same test match of 408. Because Ali got
Yeah.
one. Is that correct, what I've just said?
I think you are right there. I can't remember.
I heard it somewhere, but anyway, any more to be said on the cricket?
Apparently, it was the highest score by somebody whose name started with a Z in Test cricket. Yeah, but no, there was another one. It's a Pakistani batsman, and I've forgotten who it is. Is it
Right.
Zulfikar?
Zahir Abbas.
Zahir Abbas.
Zahir Abbas.
Yeah.
No, but I don't think that was his real name, Zahir, was it?
No.
I know he was known as that, but
Right. Okay.
there was some comment about that on the
There was,
TV
yeah.
commentaries the other day.
Okay. Right.
Oh, we'll nip on to football then, just finish off. Now, Bayern Munich easily beat Lyon 3-0 in the semi-final of the Champions League to set up the final against PSG. The final, played last Sunday, was won by Bayern Munich with a good headed goal by Kingsley Coman against his hometown club, which was enough to take the game 1-0. It was the 6th time that Bayern had won the competition, and in doing so set up a new record of winning every single game played in winning the cup. No other team has ever done that. The head coach, Hansi Flick, who replaced sacked coach Niko Kovac last November, described the win as crazy. He also guided his team to win the Bundesliga, German League Cup this season, for a domestic European treble for only the second time in their history. Somebody's... Are you kissing Keith there?
Hey, he's a great kisser, I'll tell you. Keith.
Well, me and Keith are twins.
I'll tell him apart. Twins of evil. Twins of evil.
It's just a
Jenny.
Disappeared. And
Jenny, you've got hair. You can't be twins.
You've got hair. You can't be twins.
Now in the Europa League final, Sevilla beat Inter Milan 3-2 in an exciting game to win the cup for a record 6th time. Romelu Lukaku gave Inter the lead from the penalty spot to extend his record of scoring in consecutive Europa League games to 11. With the score at 2-2, Lukaku then decided to score in his own net to hand Sevilla the win, 16 minutes from the final whistle. Anybody watch that game?
No.
Well, how can you? How can you watch these games?
It was on BT.
Yeah, but that's one of the disgusting things about modern football, isn't it? Especially modern European football. We were brought up on watching these games, and you can't watch it now unless you've got BT or is it Sky or whatever. You know, it's disgusting. Too much money involved.
I think UEFA should have bit the bullet and allowed it to go on terrestrial TV.
Dead right.
Is that they were paid a lot of money for it in the first place, so
money counts more than anything else, more than morals or fairness, anything.
It does, unfortunately.
Stuff your spectators.
Right.
Now Arsenal's ladies were knocked out of the Champions League by PSG by 2-1 at the quarter-final stage to end any British interest in the competition for the women. Now, Manchester United captain Harry Maguire, he's pleaded not guilty and been released from police custody following his arrest on the island of Mykonos. A court date for the 27-year-old is set for today, but Maguire will not attend court and will be represented by his lawyer. We're not clear what specific charges he faces, but it's believed to be possible aggravated assault and attempted bribery of a police officer.
Breaking news, lol. Breaking news, lol. The Greeks have dropped it to a minor misdemeanor.
Thought they would.
Okay. Well, the other two defendants are his brother Joe and a family friend, Christopher Sharman.
And it was about his wife defending his wife or something, apparently.
Sister, wasn't it?
His
Sister.
sister.
Beg your pardon, sister.
It was his sister. She was stabbed by an Albanian.
Really?
Happens to us all.
Alleged.
Well, have you been stabbed by an Albanian?
Yes, apparently what started it off was his wife was stabbed by an Albanian in the arm.
I think that's it. That's enough to start a scrap, isn't it?
Yep.
Not a drunken brawl then, but somebody stabs your wife or your sister, you're going to react, aren't you?
He's certainly doddery on his feet when they showed the video.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
How much drink did they have? Because they were talking about the bar bill was 63,000.
63,000. 63,000 what?
Pounds they were talking about. So, well, in the thing. So it must have been good stuff.
Right. Have you nearly done, lol? Because we're less than a minute.
Well, I can carry it on till tomorrow, the next one I've got left. I'll carry it on till tomorrow.
So with less than 1 minute, so we'll see you all again in 5 minutes' time after you've had a drink and a biscuit.
Chris wants to say something.
I think we should pay respects to Sylvia Dooley. who passed
Yeah,
away a
good
few
at-
days
Oh,
ago.
yes.
Sylvia
Yes.
Dooley was a wonderful lady, and the Dooley family deserve great
Yeah.
credit for what they did in Sheffield.
Yeah, all right.
Mm.